another live stream. It's great to have you on here. We're going to discuss my favorite subject today. So I'm very pumped up. I've got a lot of notes for you, but it's going to be a short live stream. I'm not going to do it for too long. I want to start by saying that one of my mentors, one of the people that I look up to, may his soul rest in peace, the late Miles Monroe said, "When the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable." And I'm looking at a generation that, as a matter of fact, let me word it this way. I am amazed at the number of people that get into relationships without proper planning. Now, I know I've said this before in the live stream, but it's so important and it's so necessary that I have to say it again. I am amazed at the number of people that don't spend enough time in preparation, don't spend enough time in learning about themselves and improving or trying to figure out what they actually want out of a relationship and if that's a good thing before they do indulge in such a thing. I'm amazed, frankly speaking. I think it's crazy. I think it's wild. Now, if you're married and you're on here and you're gonna watch this, then I'm not speaking to you because you're in a different category, right? But I'm speaking to someone who's thinking about getting married, someone who's in the process of doing that, someone who's dating, or someone who's single. Four categories, right? So the married folks are out. This is a different conversation for you. If you want to listen, you can, but this is a different conversation for you. And so broken systems produce broken people, right? Broken systems produce broken people. And so if you're an individual and your source is broken, then there is no way that something of value can come out of you. It's impossible. It doesn't work like that. And so if nothing good, if nothing of value, if nothing long lasting can come out of you, then you have no business thinking about going to share your life with someone. As a matter of fact, you only should be thinking about sharing your life with someone when you've reached a position where you're comfortable with other people being in your space. Certain people have not learned that. You- Some most of the time people get into relationships because they don't want to be alone. You don't want to be alone. You don't want to experience what loneliness is like. And there are two things, right? You can either, as an individual, you can either be alone or you can either be lonely, right? And most people go into relationships because they don't want to be lonely. Sometimes you have to be alone and go through difficult seasons because you're being pruned, you're being tested. Life is testing you, you're growing. Different things that happen, life is happening to you and you're growing. But when you go through that season and you discover things about yourself that you didn't know, then you can think about adding someone else to that life. Then you can think about bringing someone else to that journey. But anything else besides that is crazy. What are we doing? Why can't we think about the long term consequences and effects of some of the decisions that we make? We're so passive and we think that everything can be done by chance. We think that a lifelong partner, the basis of a lifelong partner, can be over the fact that maybe she has a voluptuous look, so she has curves. I'm going to make a 30 to 50 year decision because of the way someone looks. Yeah, I have bigger problems to deal with. Clearly, I haven't learned anything. Clearly. What are we doing? What are we doing? What a generation. Why can't we be more intentional about things that are very important? Everything is so passive, everything is so casual. People spend more time and effort on a 1 day event. The wedding. The wedding has more planned preparation, the wedding has more key details over the process. Going to counseling, learning things about yourself, learning things about the other person. That whole process is wiped out. That whole process is rendered null and void, undermined. And people go and then they get married in like 3 years they're out. 3 years they come out. Whose fault is that? You were literally talking to a dude who goes against every single thing that you stand for, every principle, everything that you believe in. He goes against that. He doesn't have those qualities, but you still overlook it because you think that you can work with it. And if you're dating the person and you're already struggling in that relationship, what makes you possibly think that doing this thing long term is going to be good for you? So a lot of people are silently in pain and they can't share it with anyone. They can't come out and tell anyone that they're miserable or that they're struggling. Meanwhile, the signs were there. No, this is a different conversation, right? Maybe if you're married and 20 years down the line you start having certain issues, and that's different. But I'm talking like newlywed, 3 years, 5 years down the line, you're already having major issues. And you can't say you didn't see the signs. Is that Kefa? Kefa, how are you? Welcome to the channel, Kefa. Are you the one that said you were from Costa Rica? Let me know. Let me know if you're the one that said you're from Costa Rica. Right? So there are signs there that are so glaring, but for some reason you decide that you're willing to overlook those things in the name of this person has these things, so I want to deal with this. I want to experience this. And I want you to know that your life and your destiny is bigger and greater than certain things you want to compromise for. A lot of the time, we do stupid stuff. We indulge in stupid stuff because we don't know how great our life is supposed to be. When you're doing meaningless stuff, when you're doing things that bring no value, no profit, and you're constantly engaging in those things, you're wasting time on those things, it's because you don't know how great your future is supposed to be. You don't know what your future holds. And because you don't know what your future holds, you're willing to trade that to do stupid stuff. That's really the concept. And so a lot of the times, because we don't know how great our destiny is going to be, and because we don't even know the kind of future that God has prepared for us, we're willing to go with anyone. No, you shouldn't go with anyone who shows interest in you. No, that's not how the game is run. It doesn't matter if they show interest in you. They could be bad for you. Kefa says, I confirm again, I am from the Central American country of Costa Rica. Yes, 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 yes. I gotta come there. I gotta come there, Kefa. So we gotta plan something. How old are you, by the way? Let me know how old you are. I want to make sure I'm talking to a kid or something. So yeah, if you know how great your destiny is, if you know how far God is going to take you and all the places that God is going to take you and place you, you're going to be more careful about a life partner. You're going to scrutinize them, make sure that this is part of this ordained master plan. You won't rush it. And sometimes we're trying to compete with people. And so we know that certain things are bad for us, but because of this person and this image that we're trying to, fill, this image that we're trying to capture, we want to undermine and compromise on certain things. And you forget that when it doesn't go your way, you're the one that's going to struggle. Not me, not your friends. You're the one that's going to struggle. And people don't think about this. And I said this before in another live stream. I'll say it again. I am amazed at the number of people that have never opened a book on relationships. They have never read a book on relationships, never listened to podcasts on relationships, never done anything on meaningful, healthy relationships. And these people are supposed to be in the dating market. And we're supposed to work with these people. How? Kefa says, I am focusing my attention more on listening to the divinity within me, on taking time to maintain balance. That's pretty interesting. That's reality where there's chaos and disconnect from light. Wonderful. Wonderful. Cool stuff. How are we supposed to be in relationships with people that aren't growing? And I want to say something, right? I want to say something. If you get married, right? If you get married and, 5 years, 10 years down the line, your partner goes to get a PhD and all that good stuff, right? You have to be growing with that individual because their knowledge level is not going to be the same. Everything is going up. And so you have to, not that you're competing, but you're running this race with them and you're not dragging you. It doesn't feel like you're being stunted because both of you are moving together. Your idea and your ideologies, your perspectives about love, the first year has to be different from the 15th year. The problem is people aren't growing. People aren't taking the steps to grow. And people aren't taking the steps to do these things because they don't think these things are important. So if these things are important, then what else is important? What else? Where is our focus going? The fantasy. The fantasy of having a family, the fantasy of what a beautiful marriage would look like, the fantasy of having kids and going on all these vacations and, kissing here and doing that. It's all fantasy. But the actual knowledge you need to execute these things is missing. And so you're with people that don't know how to communicate. When they feel something heavily on their chest, instead of confronting the issue, they don't know how to talk. They just keep quiet. They just go in. Then you have another person who can't control their emotion, and as soon as anything bad happens, they lash out. So we're having dynamics of people that are completely opposite in everything. I don't even want to talk about politics and religion because that's one of the key things, and people overlook those things. Politics in general is something that you can potentially work with. That's fine. That's something that you can overlook. You can overlook political differences, but faith, religion, right? And so you have, a Muslim and then you have a Christian. It's not going to work. It won't work. That whole balance is not going to. It can't work. And so I don't understand why people won't take pain and time, make sacrifices, open a book, read. Knowledge brings transformation, and reading brings knowledge. Knowledge comes from reading, but we won't read. So what do we expect our life to look like? Can you possibly imagine going into a new job and you're just left to figure it out? There are people there before you at this job place, at this workplace. There are people that are there before you. And these people that are there before you, Alexa says, are you religious? Yes, Alexa, I am religious. Welcome to the channel and make sure you subscribe. Do you believe in God? Yes, I believe in God. Alexa, I just stopped my train of thought to answer your question, so you better go subscribe. Yes, I am religious. Wonderful. Thank you very much. So as I was saying, stay with me. As I was saying, people go to a new workplace. You get a job, you go to a new workplace, and Instead of asking for help, or instead of the people that are there helping you, you're just left to figure it out. Think about how you're going to feel at such a workplace. There's no help. You just have to figure it out and make sure that you don't make any mistakes. That is crazy. Can you imagine that? Exactly. You're trying to get married. You're trying to do things that other people have already done. Instead of getting counsel, instead of making sure you're getting training, all that good stuff, you're not doing any of that. So if we understand in our human wisdom, in our human consciousness, we understand the fact that if a new hire is coming, they must be trained. They must get the appropriate training. They must have someone that's supervising their work, making sure that they don't make any mistakes, making sure that client needs are taken care of. So if we understand these basic principles, why can't we apply these same principles to one of the most fundamental, important things of our human journey? Life partner. We can't do that. Why can't we do that? Alexa says you just have to be yourself. I have a question. How do you stop an addiction? Um, that's a whole conversation, Alexa. That's a whole conversation. If you want me to give you some coaching 101, go to my profile, right? Go to my profile. I have a link over there. Just click on that link, fill out that survey, and I will talk to you. I'll meet with you 101. Just go on that link, put your name, your phone number, your email, all of that good stuff, and I'll reach out to you 101, and I'll give you some coaching on that, and we'll get you taken care of. You said how though? Go out of this live stream. Yeah, go out of this live stream, go to my profile, click on that link, and then I'll meet with you later, probably later tonight or tomorrow. I have some people to talk to, so I'll meet with you and we'll get you taken care of. All right. So just go on that link. Let me know what you're struggling with, and we'll talk about it. Everything must have a plan. Everything must have a procedure. When you go into a new organization, the people at that organization want you to succeed, which is why they have training manuals for you. Sometimes before you even start, they start sending you documents and things that they want you to go through. Everything is calculated. So if you want your relationships to succeed, if you want to do well, you should be reading books that speak towards having healthy relationships. That's what you should be doing. You should find people that have been married for years, 20 plus years, 30 plus years, and ask them how they did it. Get counsel from those people. Only then can you really be on the path to potentially experiencing what they have. But why are you trying to figure it out by yourself? These are things that we don't talk about a lot. I'm not claiming to have all the answers. I'm just trying to guide you to do the right thing. Very simple concept. And if more people could do this, we would have more successful relationships. Very successful relationships. We would understand each other well. We will understand ourselves well, and we would be able to build something healthy and strong with whoever we decided to do life with. Very simple. Anything that we want to do requires planning. Anything that we want to do and be successful at it requires planning. You can't just do it any way, anyhow you want it. There has to be a plan, there has to be a guide, there has to be something step by step in order to get to a favorable result. A planned a planned step by step process. So how are we going to win in our marriages if we're not doing the basic things? And nobody knows the future. Nobody knows what could happen 15 years down the line. But if there are basic things that we need to be controlling, if there are basic things that are under our control that we can't even influence, we can't even get to work the right way, how much more a bigger picture? And so if once we decide this is how we're going to do things, we'll be successful. We will have more successful relationships. We won't even waste our time that much because we can have a conversation with an individual. We can 1, 2 dates. We already know that this isn't going to work. We don't have to waste 3 months, 5 months, 8 months, 1 year talking to an individual only to come back and realize this isn't going to work. We don't have to waste this much time and resources. We understand what we want. We know the kind of family we want to have. We know that we need to be with someone who's a Christian. So even if I'm a lady and I meet a great guy, he has all the qualities I'm looking for, and he's not a Christian, I know very well that that is a major red flag. Now I can sow seeds. I can say, hey, has anyone talked to you about Jesus Christ? Do you want to, start going to church and stuff? I can plant seeds, but I'm not going to try and pursue a relationship with an aim and quest of saving this individual. You can't even save yourself. How on earth are you going to save another individual? Right? That individual must want to reach this point by themselves. They must already be searching for answers. If they're already searching for answers, then you can provide a solution. But this individual doesn't even know that what they have is a problem, or the path they're on is a problem. And you're trying to save this person. It's not going to work. A man of principle can't be with a woman who lives life any way, anyhow she wants. It's just not going to work. There's going to be too much disagreement. Diddy says people won't always want to get involved in other people's life. Diddy, what are you talking about? Diddy, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I don't get it. All right, please state your point. Please state your point. I digress, right? If we know that this individual has things that we are against, major red flags, there is no reason why we should compromise. There's absolutely no reason. Why are you wasting time? Do you not value your time? Do you not value your resources? Do those things not mean anything to you? Well, yes, if they do, then act accordingly. Simple. I have a message, a conclusion message for everyone, right? The things that we need to do in order to succeed at whatever it is we desire are few. There's not a lot. It's just boring, consistent stuff. That's it. If you really look within, you realize that the things that you need to do in order to succeed at whatever it is you're looking at is not a lot. It's just a lot of stuff that you have. It's just a few stuff, excuse me, that you have to do consistently, daily, and it's boring, but it's part of a rhythm. Same thing with your relationships, right? Have a list. Have a list. This person must have the same faith as me. This person must be goal oriented, must have structure, must have order, must have this, must have that. Then you have a guide. You have a plan. And then you don't waste time. You don't waste resources trying to figure out if this person is going to do this and if this person is on the same plan as you. Diddy says keep everything private. I don't know if that relates to what I'm talking about. No, I don't think so. But anyway, good point. Good point. Either way, good point. So yes, if we can do this, I challenge you all. If we can do this in our relationships, we're going to see progress. We're going to see so much advancement. We're going to see that we're not wasting time, we're not wasting money, we're not wasting any kind of resource, our pain, whatever. We're not sacrificing our peace to try and figure out if someone is with us or is doing their own thing. Diddy says, what are you talking about? I am talking about relationships, Diddy. this live stream is going to be on. So go watch it and understand what I'm talking about. All right. I love you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow.